terrific. All right, so I'm pleased to introduce Jennifer Lee. She is Executive Director, Head of Oncology Clinical Operations at Radius Health. Jennifer is a healthcare leader and is a recognized expert in accelerating clinical development pipelines from preclinical to commercialization stages. Over the past 25 years, Ms. Lee has successfully launched NDA efforts for Celebrex, Bextra, Mybrantrix, Medmiga, Xtandi, and others. She has held senior positions in small, mid, and large pharma and biotech companies and has managed more than 50 clinical product candidates for oncology, CNS, infectious, rare disease, and immuno, gene, and cell therapies. Her experience includes leading clinical development efforts, initiating INDs, accelerating clinical development, filing NDAs, launching new products, developing external partnerships, building clinical development teams, generating and executing inspection readiness programs, and leading global inspections as a subject matter expert. She is senior level experience at Pfizer, Gilead, and Astellas, and Ms. Lee has conducted numerous inspections for FDA, EMA, MHRA, China, Japan, South Korea, and other countries. Ms. Lee is involved in translating life science research discoveries into business opportunities through deep diligence processes and developing clinical development strategies for new products. As I said, she's currently Executive Director, Head of Oncology Clinical Operations at Radius. And she received her bachelor's in biochemistry from the University of Illinois at Chicago and a master's degree in clinical research and regulatory administration from Northwestern.
Thank you so much. Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. I just want to say welcome, and I will be going over how to keep clinical trials on track through rapidly changing environment with you in the next few minutes. But I just wanted to give a quick shout outs to the participants who are joining us from the West Coast. And thank you so much for Precision Clinical Trials event for hosting this wonderful event this year. So I'm not sure if I can see the chat line right now because this just to say a quick shout out to the Precision Globe for hosting this event. So thank you so much. I just wanted to take this opportunity to say a quick hello. And as I was introduced, I am head of clinical operations and executive director, and I've helped launch 5 NDAs and 60 INDs, and I've accelerated over 50 candidate products in the space of oncology and CNS. So I'd like to just briefly poll the audience. First, in your opinion, clinical trials are becoming more competitive and increasingly complex to manage. If you agree, can you enter in the chat box, agree. If you disagree, please type in number 2. If you're not sure, type in number 3. And if you agree, but you got this, please type in 4. Are the polls coming in?
I can see the polls are starting to come in. 1 4 1 1 4 1 1.
Okay, there's a lot of ones. Yes, absolutely, I agree with you. I have one more question. Actually, 2 more questions. Question number 2. Do you believe that we need to operate like a lean startup company with speed and agility? If you agree, type in 1. Nah, if number 2. Number 3, we're already lean and speedy. Please type in number 3. Okay. 1 more second there. And please let me know the response that we're getting.
Predominantly number 3 for your question number 2. We're already
Oh,
late.
we're already lean and speedy. That's fantastic. Wow. That means we've got a really strong audience there. Okay. The final question is, pace of life has increased on many levels, even our language becoming shorter. Have you used or seen these acronyms? So maybe for the Gen Gs, this might be really easy, but for me, I struggle a little bit. So what does YNT means to you? We'll see if you're getting this one right. I have to cheat a little bit here to see what it is.
And Antonio Baca, VP ClinOps, says he's never seen these before.
I'm with you on this. You're not alone. So YNT. Okay, so YNT is why not? Number 2, what does why means to you? Have you seen this why?
People are saying Y equals yes.
That's what I thought in the beginning. Y means WHY. Why? And number 3, GR8.
I think this one, everyone got it. Great.
That's great. Awesome. We're getting really warmer here. How about number 4, YW?
Some people are saying yes, why, like Farah Ahmed. Some are saying you're welcome. Gagnon says, yeah, whatever.
I love that. I love what, yeah, whatever. I think we should keep, go with that one because I love that one. According to the internet, YW is you're welcome. But I really love the creativity in the audience. So thank you so much. The reason I share this with you is that today's my topic is how to keep clinical trials on track in a rapidly changing environment. So studies are showing that our clinical trials are becoming more complex and increasingly complex, and then innovations are increasing, and innovative clinical trials are out there, and as you know, and on the other hand, the innovative clinical trials increase competition. So the trend is going to increase, and we know that for sure. We're going to have more trials, and we're going to have more trials that needs to be done faster. This is a good news to the companies that are developing compounds. And this is also good news to the patients because they will have more treatment options. But in order to navigate this fast changing environment, we need to be ready. So in the next 15 minutes, I will go over the 5 key strategies to keep your trials on track in this COVID-19 time. And we will decode each one of those successful factors. And as I mentioned, I've advanced more than 50 compounds in the past. And over, the key factors that come up are all in this slide deck. So I will share them with you. Number 1 is building relationships. Building relationships matter, and because it can go a long way and it builds trust and reliability. Building relationship either with your teams, your stakeholders, your sites, your investigators or vendors, all important. How do we build the relationships? We don't build a relationship. We don't have to be emotional. We don't have to agree to everything that is being said, or we don't have to go along the way, even if we don't agree. Building relationship means understanding where they are and meeting them at the level they are and connecting emotionally. So if you're a leader, we need to be empathetic. We need to show understanding, and we need to be generous. if you're a team leader, we need to step up and do more than what we are expected to do. And the experienced team, so as you build your relationship, the team becomes more agile and nimble, and they're accountable, and they are reliable, and they work together, and they adapt quickly, and they develop plans, and they brainstorm, and they rapidly they become nimble, and then they rapidly, swiftly, they navigate through uncharted territories. The reason I polled all of you about the acronyms is that pace of life has increased so dramatically. For example, even movies have faster cuts. More and more people have been fast forwarding the media contents. And our language is becoming shorter and more informal and filled with acronyms as you saw them. So successful teams do more than expected, and great teams have everyone on the same page. It is important to build relationship with your patients. Now, you may say, well, Jennifer, what do you mean we build relationship with patients? We have limited interaction with our patients. You can build relationship with your patients in a way that when you design a protocol, you could design a way that the patient doesn't have to go to laboratory to scan, radiology department, to pharmacy, cram all those procedures in one tight, small window that's been defined in the protocol. That means you're not keeping your patients in mind. So it is important to keep your patients in mind when you design protocol. That's one way to build relationship. Another way to build relationship with your sites is to treat them as your customers and making things easier. As a lot of you, as leaders and managers, we write queries. We generate queries to our sites. And I've seen some queries that are head scratching because they're not actionable, easily understood. But we could build relationship indirectly by providing them queries that are actionable, understandable, and easy to digest. And responding promptly. I know a lot of our CRAs are on the road now. Due to the COVID-19, the travel is somewhat restricted. However, before COVID-19, they would be on the road. Site might have a simple question that just requires 15 minutes of your time to respond. As a manager, as a sponsor leader, we do need to get to our sites immediately because at the end of the day, our sites manage so many protocols, right? That means they have more passwords, more system portals, a lot of names to remember, a lot of vendors to keep track of, so many different protocol designs. Our sites work on many, many different studies. So it's easy to treat them as, oh, this is a site that we work with on this trial, and then we move on. But think of it as a long-term partnership. Sites tend to respond better when the sponsor make their life easier. They want to say, wow, your company, your people are great. You're always available and you support our needs, and we want to do more and put our patients front and center for you, versus this sponsor hardly respond our calls. Their protocol is disastrous, and we're not getting the response that we need. So think about it that way, and this is one way to build relationship with your sites. Cross-functional teams. Can I see the show of hands? How many of you work with more than one functional teams? We've got medical, science group, PD, safety, data management, statistical, and clinical operations. Supply group, CMC, you name it. It is important to work together to identify quality factors and execute important priorities and scan the horizon and respond rapidly together as a functional teams. We can't go alone. We might be able to win a game going alone, but in clinical trials, we have to be a team and we have to work together to win championships. I've learned this over and over, how important it is to work together, and the people, the relationship issue is so important. So if you can get this one right and really emotionally connect with the people next to you, in front of you, behind you, above you, and beside you, you will go along the way. So I just want to show this picture because I love this, because the speedboat is agile and nimble and speedy, and they can navigate this uncharted territory quite fast. So the whole theme is about being nimble, be fast and agile in this very challenging times. Number two, the second one is the leadership, taking the right actions and investing in teams, because there is a dividends. I see over and over leaders. You might say, well, I'm not a leader. I'm an individual contributor. I'm just a manager. I don't have a direct report. But we are all leaders because we lead with influence in mind. We influence our vendors. We communicate and persuade our colleagues. And we talk with our vendors and sites. You are a leader because you are leading your projects and your team and your vendors. So leaders, what are some of the key quality superpower skills of leaders? They scan the horizon and they respond rapidly. They see the wind shift and they see the water's current change, and then they see the competitors' moves. They're always on the lookout and they always look what's on the horizon. They know how to zoom in and zoom out. It's that flexibility, zooming in, zooming out, and know when to stay above and stay in the ground is the quality, true quality of leadership. They also develop and maintain collaborative and high functioning team. You've heard about safe environment. It is important for leaders to provide safe environment so that the team can raise up their hands and say, you know what, I don't agree with this concept. Can you please explain it to me? They're not afraid to speak up. Now, at the end of the debate, healthy debate, of course, then you can make a decision as a leader, and then you expect all of your team to line up and support you. But it is important to provide that leadership where everybody brings their diverse experience and aspects, and they share with you. It is important. It makes your trial more robust and better. Finally, they recruit and train their staff rapidly and hold each one of the team accountable, your site accountable, your vendor accountable, and your cross-functional team accountable. It's sort of like we're all in this together. We sink together, we survive together, we thrive together. It's the team leadership mentality. Another leadership traits that I've seen over and over that succeed and they triumph and do so well is that they provide data insights. What is the point if you collect data and not really understand what the data tells you? So as a leader, we should look at the data on an ongoing basis and see where the trends are, what are the outliers are, and be able to track that and see whether you need to course correct or continue on your path. Leaders also establish JOC, Joint Oversight Committee. I don't know, can I see the hands? How many have you heard of this term? It's a governance structure. There's a oversight committee member at sponsor and at CRO to provide support for the teams and provide oversight of the clinical programs. Please connect with me on LinkedIn if you'd like to know more about this or like to see the template of it. I'd be happy to share with you. The leaders also provide active guidance and framework and provide calming effect in the middle of the storm. And finally, this is something really important to me, that leaders do look out for burnout. We are in this pandemic and we are overworked and we have quite a lot of work that we need to manage. And I know the team members are quite burned out. It is important for the leaders to keep a lookout and provide support. So number 3, the number three, the factor that I believe, the key factor that would keep your trial on track is building relationship with your vendor and CRO. Now, before we go in, I have another question. This is a final question. What is the most key important aspect of a CRO? Number one, is it agility and speed? Number two, is it a project managers and teams, the CRAs? When you have really strong teams, A team instead of B team, is it most important aspect of the CRO? Or a cutting edge tools or systems? Or experience or thought leadership? Or is it a global presence or the size? Or do you think it's all of the above?
I see a 1, I see a 7, a 2, another 2, a 7.
Yes, I say all 7 because the CRO needs to be nimble and agile and speedy. They also have to have a good project managers, good CRAs, because they represent you. They're the ears and eyes for you. And they need to have a cutting edge tools, the systems, and the capability and capacity to scale with you. And they need to have the experience, and they should be the thought leaders on this, on the space that they operate. It's preferable to have a global presence in case you scale out to, let's say, overseas, and you're launching your clinical trials overseas. They need to have that experience. Imagine if you're trying to open a site in Asia and they've never operated in that country. It would be problematic because it would be a learning curve, and they're learning on the job. And I also think that the size matters. If you work with a giant CRO, I also sometimes refer giant CRO as a ship. They're not built for agility. They're built for more power. And it doesn't mean that when your company is small and we don't have to go with the giant company, but it is important to understand the culture, their layers, and then the size, so that they can stay nimble with you. Because all of you said, yeah, our company is nimble and speedy. We already got this. So your CRO needs to be also nimble and speedy and march on the same rhythm as you. So thank you for the response there. So quickly, just please look at this one and see if this resonates with you. So the CRO is a vendor that provides agility and quick to make adjustments. They understand the sponsor's missions and key priorities. They free from idea that this relationship with the sponsor is only transactional, but they treat this as long-term partnership, and they're fiercely accountable for results. They have a sense of urgency. They communicate very well proactively, and they develop plans. They trust, and they build trust quickly, and they work fast, and then they're proactive. And they scan what's working and what's not working, and they quickly know how to mobilize their team. Can I see the show of hands? How many resonate with you? Resonate with all of this? Do you have CROs that are working in an agility environment? They're fast. They understand your priorities and your mission. Vice versa, we as a sponsors need to provide the trust and the partnership. We need to treat our vendors as true partners. That means we need to make key decisions quick. A lot of times our CROs are waiting because we are just checking, double checking, triple checking, fourth checking. I mean, there's a lot of checking, and we're not making any decisions. Indecision is also a decision. We do need to make a decision and provide clear expectations and guidance to our CROs and treat them as our partner. And it's only when we have a truly good partnership we can really do great things. So The fourth key factor is the quality management, and I'll go into this more detail. It is really important as the company to meet on an ongoing basis to assess risk, assess emerging risks, any potential risk on the horizon on an ongoing basis. This means proactively scans the horizon and identify and mitigate them. I know that some of you meet on a regular basis, maybe weekly or biweekly or on a monthly basis. But if you're meeting with your CRO on a quarterly basis, I strongly discourage you to reassess. I ask you to reassess the timing because I think quarterly might be too late for the studies. Even if it's a phase 1 trial and it's a short duration study, I would encourage every week, but let's say phase 3 trial where it's it's a 5 years long. I believe that it's important to meet on a regular basis. You could have a quarterly meeting, but you could exchange emails on a monthly or bi-weekly on any risks. How are you controlling the risks? Who's monitoring it and who's owning this? So there are ways to mitigate risks, right? It's not just always mitigating, but you can transfer it. If you have a risk that you identified and you have a vendor that can take on that risk because simply they have more experience than you do, then it is okay to transfer that risk. It is okay to accept risk because COVID-19, there's nothing we can do about it except to accept that as a reality, that accept that it's going to coexist as a measles or HIV. We do have vaccines, so hopefully it's a one of a thing in the past and we don't have to worry about it. But there are ways to mitigate, and option is you can mitigate it, transfer it, or accept it. If you'd like to learn more about these risk mitigations and sponsor oversight, you could check out ICH E6R2 as well as ICH E8R1. So some of the questions that you can ask during the mitigation meeting is that, what are we up against? What are the current and emerging or potential risks that we need to address today? What are the opportunities and challenges from this risk? The opportunity is that you identify the risk and it will give you, let's say, training opportunity. Oh, great. Well, maybe we need to train our sites more, maybe our CRAs more, because these risks will come back if we don't train our sites or train our CRAs. So I see risks as an opportunity, not as a threat. And you can also ask, well, what is the price you will pay if you don't take actions now? And who's going to be owning the risks? Is it the clinical operations department, CNC department, or is it joint departments that are going to own these risks and monitor them? And finally, storyboard. A lot of times you see the risk and you identify, you control it, and you risk mitigate it, but then we stop there. But it is important to document and build it into your storyboard so that years later, not even a year later, but years later, but it could be next year, when somebody asks you, oh, Reggie, how did you mitigate this COVID-19 risk? How did you ensure that your patients are kept safe? And then there is a continuity of your project. What did you do to mitigate all these COVID threats? It is important to document what you did to show that how you mitigate your risks. So I can't stress enough how important it is to build your story, build your roadmap and documentation early on and often. The final one is digital solutions. And as I mentioned, the COVID-19 pandemic has challenged every key aspect of the clinical trials. There's a less desire to be inpatient clinical trials, and there's more desire for outpatient, patient-centric trials. And we want to ensure continuity of the studies, patient safety, and integrity of data. And I would say that digital solutions really offer opportunities to execute clinical trials without fragility in the COVID-19 time. So let us look at what are the options. As you see, there are 4 boxes here: decentralized clinical trials, fully virtual clinical trials, direct-to-patient shipment, and telemedicine. I'm not sure how many of you have used one or more of these options, but I could quickly go over. The decentralized clinical trials include ePro, e-consent. The patients can go to a local hospital instead of a clinical site to measure ECGs and vitals. They could arrange a visiting nurse to come to the patient's house to measure ECGs and vitals and dose administration. So decentralized clinical trials are just electronic solutions that are available as a tool. The fully virtual clinical trials allows patients to see their doctor in a remote setting for the whole duration of the study. So telemedicine, for example, or remote health monitoring will fall under this category. The direct-to-shipment is a good option for patients who, for some reason, unable or unwilling to make to the study sites. They can request the drug supplies to be shipped to their home so that there is a continuity in terms of access to IP. The telemedicine, through telemedicine, it provides safety assessments, and it can be done without having to be in person. So such as remote visits, digital vital signs, and ECGs. So before I go to the summary, digital solutions offer wide variety of benefits, including the patient experience. It can also fast track your enrollment and also provide convenience. So with that, I just want to summarize. Over the years, I've really tracked and monitored and observed all the key factors that makes a study successful. It's the people piece, when you build relationship and build trust with your vendors and your cross-functional teams and your stakeholders internally and externally, you can go much further and you could accomplish a lot more. Number 2, the leadership. We all have leadership to cultivate, and we need to step up to increase our leadership and exercise our leadership. And number 3, the partnership with our CROs and vendors, so critically important to set your study up for success and to be successful. The 4th one is risk mitigation. Utilize the technology, artificial intelligence to incorporate your study so that there is a risk-based monitoring and central based monitoring embedded into your trial. Finally, the digital options. You might want to consider digital options as one of your solutions to keep your trials on track in this crazy time. So with that, I just want to say thank you so much for your attention and for listening. And please connect with me on LinkedIn, and I look forward to connecting with you outside of the summit. So thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Jennifer. That was really terrific. Sam, I think I don't see any questions in the chat, but Sam, I'll leave it up to you in terms of when you want folks to come back. I think we're at the break now. So.
Yes, absolutely. So if there are any questions for Jennifer, let us know. Like she said, if you want to connect with her via email, we can do that as well. We all will be taking a quick half-hour break, and we'll be back at 2:05 p.m. Pacific, which is 5:05 p.m. Eastern. So thank you again, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, and it was nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
bye-bye.
bye-bye.